Hi. 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 Can you hear me? Can you hear my voice? Can you hear me? Can you hear my voice? Hello. Hi. Hi, Ujin. Can you hear me? Ujin, can you hear my voice? Oh, good. Okay. How are you? Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Ujin. How are you? Okay. So. Ujin, are you going to have like another soccer match in second semester? Ujin, will you have another soccer league in second semester? Hi, Soyeon. How are you? Hi. Can you see this letter? Can you see this letter? Mm. So, Ujin, if you are planning to have another soccer league in second semester, please let me know in advance so I can talk to school and get a permission. Okay? So, hi, Hyunsu. Hyunsu, can you see the letter? Can you see this letter? Can you see this letter, 현수? Okay. So today I'm going to talk about this poem. The title is Anyone Lived in a Pretty How Town. So this is written by a poet named Cummings, Edward Estlin Cummings. Okay, Ujin. Okay. So Gaffel Cup is an official school league, right? It's not in. You guys are not in charge. I guess in that case we won't have any problems. Thank you for letting me know, Ujin. Thank you. Okay. So since you can hear me, I'm going to have a little bit like analysis of the poem called "Anyone Lived in a Pretty How Town." So this is written by the American poet Edward Cummings. And Edward Cummings was born in America, and he was quite famous for writing poems. He wrote a lot of poems, and when he wrote a poem, he enjoyed using quite a particular syntax, quite a particular syntax. So I'm going to read the poem first. Okay. So here, anyone lived in pretty how town, with up so floating many bells down. Spring, summer, autumn, winter. He sang his didn't, he dances did. Women and men, both little and small, care for anyone not at all. They saw there isn't, they reaped their same, sun, moon, stars, and rain. Children guess, but only a few, and down they forget as up they grew. Autumn, winter, spring, summer. That no one loved him more by more, when by now and tree by leaf. She left his joy, she cried his grief, bird by snow and star by still. Anyone, any, all of her, all to her, someone's married their everyone's. Left their cryings and did their dance, sleep, wake, hope, and then they said their nevers, they slept their dream. Stars, rain, sun, and moon, and only the snow can begin to explain how children, apt to forget, remember, with also floating many bells down. One day anyone lived, I guess, and no one stood to kiss his face. Busy folk buried them side by side, little by little, and was. All by all, and deep by deep, and more by more, they dreamed their sleep. No one and anyone, earth by April. Wish by spirit, and if by yes, women and men, both dong and ding, summer, autumn, winter, spring, reaped their sowings and went there came sun, moon, stars, and rain. So if you access to internet and if you type the title here, anyone lived in a pretty how town, you can easily find this poem from internet. So this is a quite an interesting poem. And Cummings, he is quite famous for using like the vocabularies, using the word in his own unique way. So when you first read this poem, you will be quite shocked because many of these sentences doesn't really make sense. And at the same time, if you know how to like interpret, if you know how to read and understand the content, it also means several different meanings at the same time. So here is the first stanza. it says anyone lived in a pretty hot town with also floating many bells down. So here, Cummings, he just enjoyed putting vocabularies in pairs. So if you look at this poem, you can find a, lo- a lot of letters in pairs. Oh, Hyunsu, you can already understand this poem. Wow, Hyunsu said it's beautiful. Okay, so this anyone lived in this pretty hot town, and in this town, there are so many bells. There are many so many bells. So Cummings he used up and down together. So there's up bells. Up bells. Usually these bells are used in order to decorate the house. So this up floating bells, it means like bells for decoration. But at the same time, it says many bells down. So it is bells down in like Western culture. When you have a funeral, they use bells. So when your coffin goes down to the ground, they make a bell sound. So I guess this many bells down. It also means that there goes a funeral in this town. So this sentence means that in this pre-house town there are many decorating bells, and also there's like funerals occur in this pre-house town. And then it comes spring, summer, autumn, and winter. So these phrases of season, like spring, summer, and autumn and winter, it repeats several times in Cummings' poem. An interesting thing is that the order of this season changes. So here in the first stanza, it says spring, summer, autumn, and winter. And in third stanza, Cummings he used this sentence again, but then it comes autumn, winter, spring, and summer. So the order of the season just changes. So by repeating this same sentence, Cummings achieves rhythm. He makes a musical effect. At and at the same time, by changing the order of the season, he signifies that time in this town, time in the pre-house town, is goes by and season is changing. So here he sang his didn't, he danced his did. So again here the word sang and dance, it's used as a pair word. Okay, and also didn't and did. So didn't and did also a pair word. So when you first read this sentence, he sang his didn't, he danced his did. It doesn't really seem to make sense. But when you think about it, sometimes people just want to sing a song of their action that they didn't make, and sometimes people want to dance. They want to make a dance, perform a dance of the action that they did. So here it's quite an interesting point. And okay, and another point is that the word anyone. So here you can interpret this anyone in two meaning. So anyone in like dictionary sense, anyone refers to any kind of person. And at the same time, Cummings he like used it anyone as just a name of some particular person. Imagine that there is a man, and that man's name is anyone. Okay, so anyone he lived in this pretty house town. So in second stanza, it says women and men, both little and small. So in this town, there are not just anyone. So there are other villagers, there are other neighbors. So women and men. So some of them are little and some of them are small. And women and men, they care for anyone not at all. So these people, neighbors, they just don't care each other. They just live their own life, minding their own business, and they sow their isn't, and they reaped their same. So here, sow, SOW. Okay, you are working really hard on the ground. Sow and reap also used as a pair word. So you saw your crops, you saw your like rice or wheat in the springtime, and during the winter, or I mean during the autumn, you reap what you saw in the ground. So here they saw their isn't and they reaped their same. So during the springtime, people just work hard, and in the autumn, they reap their same. So here comes sun, moon, stars, and rain. So again, Cummings he used these same phrases, sentences over and over: sun, moon, stars, and rain. And also, the sun, moon, stars, and rain, they also change the order. So in second stanza, it says sun, moon, stars, and rain, and we have like in say in uh, seven stanza, we have stars, rain, sun, and moon. So same phrases but in different order. So it also signifies that time goes by. So people in this town they just care about their business, minding their own business, and live their life. And in third stanza, children guess, but only a few and down they forget up as up they grew, autumn, winter, spring, and summer. So here we have a children, and these children guess that no one love him more by more. So this sentence can interpret that nobody in this town, nobody loved anyone, and children knew that no one loves anyone. At the same time, no one also can be interpreted as a name of a woman. So there was a woman named No One, and she loved anyone more by more, and children they guess that this No One loved anyone gradually. So it means the opposite meaning at the same time. And but only a few and down they forget as up they grew. So here down and up also is used as a pair word, and it's basically saying that as children grow up they easily forget the fact. So actually eventually people forget that no one loved anyone. And when by now and tree by leaf, she left his joy, she cried his grief, bird by snow and star by still, anyone's any was all to her. So again here, Cummings, he listed several vocabularies using by. When you list vocabularies, you sometimes use by. So when by now and tree by leaf. So it doesn't really have a particular meaning, but he's just saying that we have like when and now. Time goes by in this pretty hot town, and also there's in this town there is a tree and leaf, and she laughed his joy, she cried his grief. So this no one, he laughed anyone's joy, and she cried anyone's grief. So she understands and she sympathizes and she loves anyone. And bird by snow and star by still. So again, this sentence like bird by snow is just listing so many items, so many different things in this town. So you have bird, and you have snow, and you have stir and still. Stir is you have like noisy time, and still it means you have calm time. So in this town, time goes by, and we have nature, bird, and snow, and gradually anyone's any was all to her. So it means that no one just gradually loved anyone more and more. So anyone's any was everything to no one. And someone's married their everyone's, left their crying and did their dance, sleep, wake, hope, and then they said their nevers and they slept their dreams. So in this town, it says that there is a man and woman. So here, someone marries their everyone's and left their crying and did their dance. So as these women and men, when they live together, they left their crying. It's quite strange and interesting sentence, right? They left their crying and they did their dance. So I guess left and crying again is in a pair word, and it's sometimes if you think about it, it makes sense, some ironical sense, right? So they left their crying and they did their dance, and sleep, wake, hope, and then these people they sleep together and they wake up together and they hope together and they live together in their house, and they said their nevers and they slept their dreams. Okay, so sleep and dreams also pair meaning, and also at the same time, these people, when they live together, they said their nevers. They talk about things that they have never done, and they sleep their dreams. So this sentence is quite interesting. We usually say we had a dream, we dreamed a dream. We don't say we sleep the dream. Well, dream is something you have when you're sleeping, but here Cummings says they slept their dreams. So slept and dream also is used as a compare word, and we can guess the meaning of this sentence. So stars, rain, sun, and moon, and only the snow can begin to explain how children, apt to forget, remember, with also floating many berries down. So we have stars, rain, sun, and moon. So time goes by, and days go, and nights come, and only the snow can begin to explain. Children are apt to forget, remember. So when we usually, when we think about snow, snow is usually related to forgetfulness, right? Because it's when snow comes, it covers everything, so people tend to forget everything. But here, Cummings said that only snow can explain. So he used this snow in like really unconventional ways. So snow can explain the children really easily forget to remember with also floating many barrels down. So as children grow up, they forget things in the past, so they might forget about the fact that no one loved anyone so easily. And quite an irony that only the snow can explain the situation. And one day, anyone died, I guess, and no one stooped to kiss his face. Busy folk buried them side by side, little by little, and was by was. So, one day, anyone died, I guess, and no one stooped to kiss his face. So, here, no one, as a dictionary meaning, nobody come to anyone's funeral, even though he passed away. Or at the same time, we can interpret it that the man named anyone died, so woman named no one, since no one loved anyone, she only came to anyone's funeral to kiss his face, kiss him by for the last time. And busy people buried anyone side by side, and little by little and was by was. There's so many neighbors, they work together to give a funeral, to give a burial ceremony to anyone. And little by little and was by was, these people will eventually forget about anyone. And all by all and deep by deep and more by more they dream their sleep. No one and anyone, earth by April, wish by spirit, and if by yes. So again, this all by all and deep by deep is doesn't really have any meaning, but it rather it makes the rhythm. It creates the musical sound, and maybe it could mean like gradually, and more by more they dream their sleep. So these remaining people, this neighbor in Pretty How Town, they dream their sleep. They live their own life after anyone and no one is go away. And no one anyone urged by April. So eventually no one's passed away too. So no one and anyone urged by April. So I guess by the time April comes, no one and anyone, both of them died and they buried in the earth. And wish by spirit and if by yes. So wish and spirit and if and yes, all used as a pair word and just listed. And these people might talk about their wish, and these people might talk about their spirits, and they might think about the situation they haven't actually done. So they were asking, "Hey, what do you think if I chose this path? And what do you think if I did something?" And your couples and friend, they give you an agreement, and they're saying, "Oh yes, it might be great," and they have this conversation about their lives, different choices. And women and men, both dong and ding, summer, autumn, winter, spring, reaped their sowing, and winter came, sun, moon, stars, and rain. So here, women and men, they are like again, so a pair word. So these people, and both dong and ding. So dong and ding is also a pair word, and it doesn't really have any meaning. So if you read this entire poem, you can really easily feel the rhythm that this each word creates. So Cummings, he intentionally put this each word not only just to make some kind of sense, but also he wants to create some kind of regular rhythm, and he wants to create a musical effect. So he just put this meaningless word sometimes, like dong and ding, and summer, autumn, winter, spring. So even after anyone and no one gone, still the nature comes. The time goes by. Summer, autumn, winter, and spring comes, and it just goes by and circulates. And the women and men, they reap their sowing when there came. So, they in the springtime they were busy, like sowing their crops and rice. So that when the autumn comes, they reap their sowing. So they reap their crops and rice, and they harvest what they have saw, they harvest what they had cultivated and what they had worked during the spring and summertime. And these men and women, they went there, came. You know, eventually these people, all when time goes by, they become old and they go by. And again, the sun, moon, stars, and rain. So again, here comes the sun and moon and stars and rain. So still, even after everyone is gone, the time really um, passes by and comes and goes around. So if you look at this poem, you can only see like two period. You have a really long sentence, and there's only two period. One period is at the end of the first stanza, and the other period is at the end of the seventh stanza. So I guess, come to think about it, it means, I guess Cummings wants to make a circulation structure of this poem. So he put only two period at the two sentences, and this entire poem just looks like go and repeats over and over and again and again. So this is really like unconventional and really like smart structure and smart writing. And the meaning of this poem have like twofold at the same time. You can interpret anyone and no one as a dictionary sentence, dictionary definition. Also, at the same time, anyone and no one can be considered as a name of a particular man and particular woman. And when yourself and think about the meaning of this sentence, I guess you will probably find it quite beautiful and quite interesting. Okay, and I hope you like this introduction of this poem. And I have to admit that this poem is quite difficult. When you look at the poem, at first this definitely is not a easy poem. But as you read more and more, over and over, you can feel that this is quite interesting poem. Oop. Okay, thank you for listening. Where?